Galactic Council exiled human to a desert, but he discovers stunning alien girls instead. Around him floated dozens of representatives from different worlds. Some had skin like metal, others looked like walking mist. A few looked almost human, but their eyes were cold and distant. "The decision is final," said the council speaker, a tall being wrapped in pale light. "Human Evan Hale, you are hereby exiled." Evan clenched his fists, but he did not speak. He already knew there would be no fairness here. "Your crime," the speaker continued, "is disrupting balance. You questioned council authority. You asked why certain systems were sealed. You demanded records that were not meant to be seen." Evan finally raised his head. "I asked why entire species vanished from the archives," he said calmly. "I asked why the council decides who matters and who does not." A low murmur passed through the chamber. The speaker's voice grew colder. "That is exactly why you must be removed." A glowing symbol appeared in the air. A star map formed, then zoomed in on a single point, an empty yellow world far from trade routes. "Your destination is Karos 9, the speaker said. "A desert planet. No cities, no population, no return." Several council members watched closely, waiting to see fear. Evan felt anger, yes, but fear, no. "A death sentence," Evan said. "An exile," the speaker corrected. "You will be provided basic survival equipment, nothing more." Evan looked around the chamber. "You fear questions more than weapons," he said quietly. That was the last thing he said before the light swallowed him. The sky over Karos 9 was a dull orange. Evan hit the sand hard, rolling several meters before stopping. Heat rushed into him at once, like the planet itself was angry at his arrival. His suit absorbed most of it, but not all. He pushed himself up slowly and looked around. Sand, sand in every direction. Dunes rose like frozen waves under the burning sky. The air shimmered. There was no wind, no sound, nothing alive, at least nothing he could see. A small drop pod lay half buried behind him. Its systems were already shutting down. "Typical," Evan muttered. He checked his gear. A water recycler, a compact shelter unit, a scanner with limited range. Enough food for a few weeks if he was careful. The council did not expect him to last that long. Evan took a deep breath and forced himself to stay calm. Panic wasted energy. Energy meant life. He activated the scanner. No signals, no structures, no life signs. Officially, the council was right. Karos 9 was empty. Evan looked at the sun hanging low in the sky. "Officially," he said to himself. He began walking. The first day nearly broke him. The heat was constant. The sand shifted under every step. His suit cooled him, but it could not stop exhaustion. When night finally came, the temperature dropped fast, too fast. Evan deployed his shelter unit and collapsed inside. He drank carefully, forcing himself to take small sips. As he lay there staring at the dark ceiling, anger finally caught up with him. Not anger at the exile, anger at the lies. He had seen fragments of erased records before the council shut him down. Star systems removed, species labeled, relocated with no follow-up. Planets marked as uninhabited, yet surrounded by restricted zones, like Karos 9. "They don't erase mistakes," Evan whispered. "They erase people." Sleep came slowly. On the second day, Evan found stone. It was half buried beneath the sand, smooth, carved, not natural. He brushed away more sand and froze. Symbols, old ones, not council standard. His heart started beating faster. "So," he said softly, "you lied." He scanned the area again, adjusting the frequency. Still nothing. Whatever made this stone was hidden well. Evan marked the location and moved on, but now his steps were lighter. Purpose pushed back the exhaustion. Near the end of the third day, he noticed something else. Tracks. They were faint, almost erased by the wind, but Evan knew what he was looking at. He had tracked animals on half a dozen worlds. These were not his. They were small, barefoot, humanoid. Someone was here. Evan slowed his pace. He made no sudden movements. If someone was watching, he did not want to look like a threat. That night, as he sat outside his shelter watching unfamiliar stars, he felt it. Eyes on him. He did not turn. "I'm not armed," he said calmly into the dark. "And I didn't choose to come here." Silence answered him, but the feeling did not fade. The encounter came at dawn. Evan was collecting condensation from his shelter when the sand behind him shifted. He turned slowly. 3 figures stood on the dune above him. They were tall and slender, with skin the color of warm stone. Their eyes reflected the rising sun, bright and alert. Light cloth wrapped around their bodies, designed for heat and movement. They were clearly women, at least in shape and expression, but not human. They watched him without fear. Evan raised his hand slowly. "Hello," he said. "I'm not your enemy." They spoke to each other in a soft, flowing language he did not recognize. One of them stepped forward. "You fell from the sky," she said in clear, careful Galactic common. "The Sci-fi box," Evan nodded. "Yes. Others who fall bring chains," she said. "I don't have any," Evan replied. "The council sent me here to disappear." The women exchanged looks. "The council lies," the first woman said simply. Evan felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. "You know them." "We know of them," she said. "They buried us." Evan swallowed. "I saw traces, records erased. This world marked empty." The woman's eyes hardened. "Empty means forgotten. Forgotten means safe." She looked at him closely. "You are human." "Yes, humans survive," she said, "even when abandoned." That surprised him. "You know about humans." "Stories," she said. "You are stubborn, you endure." She turned and gestured toward the dunes. "Come, the sun will punish us if we stand." Evan hesitated only a second before following. They led him to a hidden entrance between two rocks. Beneath the sand lay a vast network of tunnels and chambers carved into stone. Cool air washed over him as he stepped inside. Lights activated without visible sources, glowing softly along the walls. Evan stared. "This is advanced." "Old," the woman corrected. Inside, more of them waited, women, elders, children, all watching him with curiosity and caution. The first woman faced him again. "I am Seelan," she said, "caretaker of this shelter." "I'm Evan." "You may stay," Seelan said, "for now." "Thank you," Evan said sincerely. She studied him. "If you betray us, the desert will take you." "That seems fair," Evan replied. For the first time, a small smile touched her face. As Evan followed them deeper underground, one truth became clear. The council did not exile him to a dead world. They exiled him to a secret, and secrets Evan knew had power. Evan followed Seelan deeper into the underground network. The tunnels were cool and quiet, a sharp contrast to the burning heat above. Soft lights glimmered along the walls, powered by a technology that seemed both ancient and far beyond anything the Galactic Council had shared publicly. "This place, it's huge," Evan said, stepping carefully. His eyes widened as the tunnel opened into a wide chamber. Seelan nodded. "It has always been here. Our people carved it long before the council claimed this star system." The chamber was filled with the hum of life. Small gardens glowed with soft light. Water flowed in channels carved along the stone floors. Several alien women worked at tables, tending machines that hummed quietly. Others were training, moving with precise motions like dance and combat blended together. "They survived here?" Evan asked, astonished. "For how long?" "For generations," Seelan said. "We hid ourselves when the council came. They wanted to erase us from history. Most of our people agreed. To survive, we became shadows." Evan shook his head in disbelief. "The council, they erase species just because they don't want them remembered." Seelan's eyes softened. "They fear truth. They fear what cannot be controlled." Evan studied the women in the chamber. They were graceful, with strong, elegant features. Their movements were quick but careful, as if every action had meaning. Some looked at him curiously, but none approached immediately. Evan sensed the caution. They had survived by hiding, not trusting outsiders. "I am not your enemy," Evan said again. "I do not work for the council. They sent me here to fail, to vanish. I only want to survive and maybe help." Seelan studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slightly. "Words alone are not proof." Evan knew she was right. He had to show his intentions. "What can I do?" he asked. "Come with me," she said. She led him to another chamber where a group of women struggled with a broken water filtration system. The old pipes were leaking and water was dripping onto the stone floor. The women tried to patch it, but their tools were small, designed for maintenance, not repair. "Can you help?" Seelan asked. Evan smiled faintly. "I've worked with systems like this before." Maybe not identical, but close enough. He crouched beside the pipes and studied the problem. With his human engineering knowledge, he began improvising. Using spare parts from their storage, he fashioned connectors and seals. Within an hour, the water began flowing properly again. The women around him exchanged surprised glances. Seelan's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "You are useful," she said quietly. Evan shrugged. "Humans survive by adapting. I fix what I can, that's how we last." One of the younger women, her skin a lighter shade of gold, approached him. "You did this faster than anyone here," she said softly. "Why do you help us?" Evan paused. "Because it's the right thing to do," he said simply. And because I was exiled here, but this world is alive. You shouldn't have to hide. The young woman smiled faintly, but there was still caution in her eyes. Seelin motioned for Evan to follow her, leading him deeper into the network. As they walked, Evan noticed the hidden beauty of the desert world. Plants glowed faintly in underground gardens. Water channels curved like small rivers. The walls were etched with symbols he did not recognize, but they seemed like a story, a history he was just beginning to understand. You understand this world is special, Seelin said. Not just because of us, but because of what lies beneath the sand. The council believes it is empty. That is why they sent you here. Evan frowned. Empty? I already saw stone carvings and tunnels. They are wrong. They are never wrong in public, Seelin said. But in private, they fear what they cannot erase. Evan's mind raced. So, you've survived by hiding, but if I help you, what happens then? Seelin's eyes were serious. If the council discovers this world is alive, they will come, and if they come, they will not stop. You must understand, human, helping us may be dangerous. Evan looked at the people around him. He saw strength, courage, and resilience. I understand, he said, but leaving you to hide forever, that's not survival. That's imprisonment. If I can help, I will. Seelin nodded slowly, as if weighing a difficult decision. Then she spoke. Very well, you may stay for now, but you must prove your loyalty not with words, but with actions. Evan smiled faintly. I can do that. The next days passed quickly. Evan learned more about their world. The tunnels led to chambers filled with ancient machines. Some were for water, air, and energy. Others were strange. Devices that hummed with power, their purpose lost to time. The alien women taught him how to move in the tunnels, how to survive the desert above, and how to respect the delicate ecosystem they maintained. In return, Evan shared human engineering techniques, ways to reinforce structures, purify water faster, and conserve energy. Slowly, trust began to grow. A few women even allowed him to walk beside them in the desert, testing his ability to endure the heat and sandstorms. Evan learned to read the dunes, to sense the hidden crevices and tunnels, to move silently. On the fifth day, a sudden sandstorm struck. It came without warning, a wall of wind and scorching sand. Evan barely made it back to the tunnel entrance. Inside, the women were already working to reinforce the walls and protect their gardens. Evan joined them. Together, they worked as a team, using every skill they had. For hours, the storm raged above, but underground, they were safe. When it finally ended, Seelin looked at Evan with a new respect. You have survived your first test, she said. Not only the storm, but yourself. Many humans would have failed. Evan wiped the sand from his suit. Humans survive because we adapt, he said. We don't give up, we keep moving no matter what. Seelin smiled faintly. Perhaps the council underestimated your kind. Evan looked around at the women, the underground chambers, the hidden gardens. They always do, he said quietly. The following day, Evan explored a section of the tunnels the women rarely visited. He noticed an ancient door half buried in sand and stone. Unlike the rest of the chambers, this one was untouched for centuries. The symbols were more intricate, glowing faintly with a strange energy. Seelin caught up to him. That place is forbidden, she said quietly. It holds secrets even we do not fully understand. Evan's curiosity burned. Secrets are not meant to stay buried forever, he said. I need to see. Seelin hesitated, then she nodded. Very well, but you go at your own risk. Together, they pushed the door open. Inside was a chamber filled with strange machines and glowing crystals. Energy hummed through the walls. Evan felt a thrill of awe. This was not just a hidden world, it was a living one. The planet itself seemed aware, as if it had been waiting for someone to awaken it. Seelin stepped forward, reverent. Our ancestors built this. It is why we survived, but the council feared it. They did not want anyone to find it. Evan studied the machinery. If this is real, if it works, the council could not have controlled it. They only thought they could, Seelin nodded. Yes, but be careful, power like this attracts attention. Evan looked at her. Then we make sure it protects, not destroys. Humans don't conquer, we adapt, we build, we defend. Seelin's eyes softened again. You speak like a true human. Perhaps that is why you survived the exile. Perhaps that is why you were sent here. Evan smiled faintly. Maybe the council made a mistake, or maybe this world just chose the right person. For the first time since his exile, Evan felt hope. The desert was not dead. The council was not infallible, and the hidden people of Kairos 9 were not alone anymore. A new chapter had begun, not just for him, but for an entire world that had waited in silence for someone to believe in them. The desert of Karos 9 seemed endless, but Evan was no longer lost in it. Each day he walked with the alien women, learning to read the sand, to sense the hidden dangers, and to respect the rhythms of the world. The dunes were beautiful, but they were unforgiving, and every step demanded care. Seelen observed him closely, noticing how the human adapted faster than anyone she had expected. He was cautious, yet confident. Silent, yet thoughtful. Every time a storm blew sand into their paths, he stayed calm, guiding the group without hesitation. "You move differently than other humans I have heard of," Seelen said one morning. They were walking atop a dune, the sun low in the sky. "Others panic, others tire, you endure," Evan shrugged. "Humans survive by pushing past limits we don't know we have. Fear is temporary. Adaptation lasts." Seelen studied him, intrigued. "Perhaps that is why you survived the Council's exile. You do not simply endure, you change what surrounds you." Evan smiled faintly, though he did not speak. Words could only do so much. Action proved intention, and he had already proven he could act. On the third day of their journey, the group noticed a small outcrop of rocks partially buried in sand. Seelen paused, her hand raised. "Stay back," she said softly. "These rocks hide something old." Evan approached carefully, scanning with his portable device. The machine hummed quietly, picking up faint energy signatures beneath the rocks. "What is it?" he asked. Seelen shook her head. "We do not know. No one has been near this place for centuries. It is a test. If we fail, it could harm us." Evan nodded. "Then we prepare." Together, they began to clear the sand, revealing a stone structure. Ancient carvings ran along the edges, symbols that pulsed faintly with an inner light. The women watched cautiously as Evan examined them. "These markings," he said slowly, "they are part of a mechanism. Someone built this to be activated only by understanding it. It's deliberate." Seelen stepped closer, her eyes wide. "Our ancestors called such places gates. They hold knowledge, power, and danger. Only those who can survive together may pass." Evan looked at the group. For the first time, he felt a sense of purpose beyond survival. He was not just a human trying to live on a forgotten world. He was part of something bigger. As they worked together to uncover the structure, a sudden roar echoed through the dunes. The ground trembled. Evan grabbed Seelen's arm, pulling her down behind a large boulder. "What is that?" he shouted over the wind. "They call it the sand predator," Seelen replied. "A beast that hunts in storms. It senses vibration and movement. Many have tried to confront it. None survive above ground." Evan's mind raced. The creature was enormous, moving with speed despite its size. Its multiple limbs churned the sand, and glowing eyes pierced the dusk. Seelen looked at him. "We must move fast. Go below ground." They sprinted toward the hidden entrance, Evan supporting one of the younger women who had tripped over the sand. The predator thundered behind them, shaking the earth. It was fast, intelligent, and relentless. Once inside the tunnels, Evan barricaded the entrance. The walls shook as the creature thrashed above. Dust and sand rained down from cracks in the ceiling. "We cannot let it find the chambers," Seelen said urgently. "If it breaches the inner tunnels, we lose everything." Evan thought quickly. "Then we lure it away." He and a small group ran toward a side tunnel, drawing the creature's attention. Its roar echoed like thunder, and the sandstorm above made every step treacherous. Using his human ingenuity, Evan led them to a narrow passage the beast could not enter. The predator raged, but it could not follow. When it finally left, Evan collapsed against the tunnel wall, breathing heavily. Seelen joined him. "You were fearless," she said, awe in her voice. "Few humans would have dared to lead it away." Evan shook his head. "Not fearless, careful, and willing to do what must be done." Her eyes softened. "Perhaps that is the difference. Humans survive not because they are the strongest, but because they understand when to fight and when to adapt." Evan smiled faintly. He did not often hear praise, but this felt meaningful. In the days that followed, Evan's bond with the women strengthened. They worked together to repair sections of the underground tunnels damaged by storms and the sand predator. Evan shared techniques he had learned from his home world, methods of reinforcing walls, conserving water, and purifying air efficiently. In return, they taught him the history of their people. They had once been caretakers of the desert world, maintaining ancient technology that regulated climate, water, and life. But when the Galactic Council arrived centuries ago, the people of Karos 9 were forced into hiding. Their technology was hidden, deactivated, and forgot, except by those who remembered. Evan listened with fascination. He realized that the desert was not a dead world. It was alive. Its systems were dormant, waiting for someone capable to awaken them, and now it had found him. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Evan and Seelan walked across a dune to reach a secluded chamber. Inside was a central control room where ancient machines glimmered faintly. Crystals pulsed with soft energy. Evan's eyes widened. "This is incredible," he whispered. "The Council doesn't even know this exists." Seelan nodded. "They erased our people from records. They do not know what they tried to hide." Evan ran his hands over the controls. Despite centuries of dust, the system responded to his touch. A holographic map flickered to life, showing the desert above, the tunnels, and hidden energy nodes buried beneath the sand. "This is a worldwide system," he said slowly. "It can regulate water, climate, even energy output." If the Council had known, they would have weaponized it. Seelan's eyes were wide. "It was never meant to harm, only to protect. Our ancestors created it to shield the weak, to hide the world when danger came." Evan nodded slowly. "And now we can use it to survive, to protect. To reveal truth if needed." Seelan studied him. "It is a great responsibility." "I understand," Evan said. "But humans, we do not step aside when we see what is right. We act, we defend, we endure." Her lips curved into a small smile. "Perhaps that is why you were sent here." The next challenge arrived faster than they expected. A minor quake shook the desert above, opening cracks in the dunes. Dust poured into the tunnels. The sand predator returned, drawn by vibrations. But this time, Evan was ready. Using the ancient system, he activated a localized energy shield over the main chamber. The predator roared in frustration, unable to penetrate the barrier. Evan coordinated with the women, guiding them to reinforce the tunnels and secure vital systems. When the storm ended and the predator finally left, Seelan approached him. "You did more than survive," she said. "You protected us. You learned our ways and combined them with yours. That is rare." Evan looked around at the underground city, the glowing gardens, the intricate tunnels, and the alien women who had slowly become allies, perhaps even friends. "Humans survive," he said softly, "but we do not do it alone. Strength comes from working together, sharing knowledge, and trusting each other." Seelan's eyes glimmered. "You are not just a human who survived exile. You are someone who can change our world, perhaps even the galaxy." Evan shook his head slightly. "One step at a time. First we survive, then we decide what to do with the rest." For the first time since his exile, Evan felt a sense of belonging. The desert was harsh, the world hidden, and the challenges relentless. But here, in the company of the alien women, he had found purpose. The Council had tried to erase him. They had sent him to a desert to die, but the desert was not dead, and Evan was far from defeated. The hidden people of Karos 9 would not be forgotten any longer, and neither would he. The desert of Karos 9 had changed for Evan. It was no longer a barren wasteland, no longer a punishment. It was a world alive with secrets, waiting to be understood. Evan woke early that day, the soft hum of underground machinery surrounding him. The alien women were already moving, preparing food, checking water systems, and maintaining the delicate balance of the tunnels. For the first time, he felt not like an exile, but like part of a community, part of something greater than himself. Seelan approached him, her expression serious. "Today you will see what has been hidden for centuries," she said. "The Council fears knowledge. They erase what they cannot control, but you will witness the truth." Evan nodded, a mixture of excitement and caution in his chest. "Then let's not waste time." They walked together to the central control chamber. Evan's hands brushed over the ancient panels, feeling the energy pulsing beneath the surface. The crystals glowed brighter as he touched them, as if recognizing him. Seelan watched closely. "The system is more than water and energy," she said. "It is the heart of this world. It protects us, maintains the desert, and hides our presence. But it has remained dormant because only one who understands both adaptation and endurance can awaken it." Evan's brow furrowed. "So, it chose me." "In a way," Seelan said. "Perhaps the Council did not know what they were sending when they exiled you." Evan smiled faintly. "They never do." Together, they activated the deeper functions of the system. Holographic images rose from the floor, showing hidden aquifers, underground rivers, and energy conduits. The desert above was not lifeless. It was a living, breathing system of protection and survival. "This is incredible," Evan whispered. "The Council never recorded any of this. They think the planet is empty, and they are wrong." Seelan nodded. "They erased our history because they feared what it might reveal. Our ancestors were guardians. They protected worlds, not destroyed them. They preserved life even when the galaxy tried to forget us." Evan's mind raced. "So the Council lied. They punished you, erased records, and tried to make this world invisible, but they could not erase truth." "Exactly," Seelan said. "And now, with you here, the truth can awaken." Evan began exploring the system, learning how each part connected. Ancient controls adjusted water flow, energy output, and environmental stability. Crystals pulsed in response to human touch, as if the world itself understood his intentions. Seelan watched him carefully. "The Council does not know how to handle humans," she said softly. "They underestimate your species. They think exile, punishment, or removal is enough to stop you, but humans endure, adapt, and overcome. That is why you survived here." Evan looked at her. "It is not just me," he said. "It is all of us. We survive because we learn from each other, because we do not give up. Even when everything is against us." Seelan nodded. "Perhaps the galaxy should remember that." That afternoon, as the desert sun burned above, Evan and a small group of women ventured to an uncharted section of the tunnels. They discovered a sealed vault untouched for centuries. The door was massive, covered in glowing symbols and etched with designs of stars and rivers. "This is the final archive," Seelan said. "Our ancestors stored knowledge here. Maps of the galaxy, records of species, and warnings for those who would misuse power." Evan's eyes widened. "If the Council knew about this, they would have weaponized it." Seelan shook her head. "They feared it instead. They feared a world that cannot be controlled. That is why you were sent here." Evan stepped forward and activated the vault. Holographic panels flickered to life, revealing the galaxy as it once was, and as it could be again. Hidden star systems, lost species, and civilizations erased from official records appeared in stunning detail. "The Council erased this history," Evan said quietly. "They controlled information, not truth, but truth cannot be hidden forever." Seelan placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have the power to change the galaxy, not by conquest, but by revealing what has been hidden. That is human strength." Evan felt the weight of responsibility settle on him. "Then we do it carefully. We protect this world, we preserve your people, and we show the galaxy the truth. Nothing more, nothing less." Days passed as Evan and the women activated more of the ancient systems. Water flowed through hidden aquifers, creating fertile areas beneath the sand. Energy conduits powered lights, machines, and protective shields. The desert above seemed to respond, winds shifting in harmony with their work. Evan began teaching the women human techniques, how to use the systems more efficiently, how to improve energy output without overloading the crystals, and how to reinforce structures. They learned quickly, their intelligence and adaptability astonishing him. "You are unlike any species I have encountered," Evan said one evening as they rested in a central chamber. "Your ingenuity, strength, and endurance, it rivals humans in many ways." Seelan smiled. "And you, human, are unlike any we have met. You survive not by strength alone, but by understanding, by observation, and by working with others. That is why you were chosen." Evan shook his head. "I was exiled, I was meant to fail, and yet I found purpose instead of punishment." Seelan's eyes glimmered with a rare warmth. Perhaps exile was never about punishment, perhaps it was about discovery. One night, a new challenge arrived. A scout from the Galactic Council appeared near the desert's edge, their ship scanning the sands. The women were alarmed. They had not been seen for centuries. Evan acted quickly. Using the ancient system, he activated a camouflage field that blended the dunes with the sky, making the underground network invisible to sensors. He coordinated with the women to secure the entrances and reinforce the tunnels. When the scout landed, its instruments failed to detect any life. The Council believed the world empty, as always. "They will never know," Seelan said, relief in her voice. "Not yet." Evan shook his head. "They will know someday, but when that day comes, we will be ready, not as victims, but as guardians." The next morning, Evan and Seelan walked to the surface. The desert stretched endlessly, but now it was alive in a subtle way. Hidden rivers flowed beneath the sand. Energy nodes pulsed faintly. Even the wind seemed calmer, aware of the life it once thought was absent. "You see," Seelan said, "this world is not empty, and neither are we. The council erased history, but it cannot erase what survives. Evan looked at her and then at the horizon. Then it is time to decide. We protect this world, we protect its people, and when the galaxy is ready, we reveal the truth. Seelan nodded. Yes, but be warned, human, not all will accept the truth, some will resist. Some will fear it, and some will try to destroy it. Evan smiled faintly. Then we adapt, we endure, and we survive. That is what humans do, and now what your people do as well. Together they returned to the underground network. The machines hummed, water flowed. Energy pulsed. The hidden world of Kairos 9 had awakened. The council believed they had exiled a single human to die in the desert. They were wrong. They had unleashed a force that could no longer be ignored. A human who endured, adapted, and now stood beside a people the galaxy had tried to erase. And in the silence of the desert, a new chapter began. A chapter not of fear or exile, but of discovery, unity, and strength. The truth the council feared was no longer hidden, and Evan was ready to show it. The desert of Kairos 9 had changed forever. Evan stood at the edge of the central chamber, watching the glowing machinery hum and pulse with life. The underground tunnels were no longer just hidden shelters. They were alive, connected, and ready to protect the people who had endured for centuries. Seelan stood beside him. The council believes this world is empty, she said. They will not know we exist until we decide to show them. Evan nodded. They sent me here to vanish, but the desert taught me something. Humans survive by acting when others hesitate, and we do not act to conquer. We act to protect, to endure, and to reveal what is true. Seelan's eyes glimmered. Then it is time. The galaxy must know the truth. Evan and the alien women worked quickly to prepare. The ancient systems beneath the desert were powerful beyond imagination. Energy flowed through hidden conduits, activating shields, lights, and sensors. Water channels bubbled to life. Plants grew in hidden gardens, creating a fertile underground network. Above ground, the desert shifted subtly, as if responding to the awakening. Sand dunes shimmered in the sunlight, hiding entrances and protecting the chambers below. The world had become alive, not a dead punishment, but a thriving secret. Evan activated the communication systems, carefully sending messages beyond Kairos 9. He did not broadcast threats or demands. He sent facts, proof of life, proof of civilizations erased, and evidence of the Council's lies. He spoke simply, clearly, and truthfully. This planet is alive. Hidden civilizations exist. The Galactic Council has erased history, silenced species, and controlled information. You have the right to know. We will show you what has been hidden. Across the galaxy, messages flashed in secure channels. Scholars, explorers, and those who had once questioned the Council received the transmissions. Whispers of Kairos 9 spread quickly. For once, humans and hidden civilizations were not afraid. They were ready to stand together. The Council reacted immediately. Starships arrived near Kairos 9, scanning the desert. They expected to find nothing, as their records claimed. But the planet resisted their sensors. Energy shields masked the tunnels. Automated defenses diverted drones. The Council's instruments returned false readings, and reports came back. No life detected. Evan watched the reports and shook his head. They are used to controlling everything. They do not know what to do when the truth moves faster than their lies. Seelan stepped beside him. We are not here to fight. We are here to endure. If they come, we will protect this world. If they listen, they will learn. Evan smiled. Exactly. Humans survive by endurance, not fear, and now we are not alone. Days later, a council envoy landed near the desert. Evan and the alien women watched from the shadows. The council representatives were confident, arrogant, believing that technology and authority would give them control. Evan stepped forward. He did not carry weapons. He carried knowledge, proof, and the presence of the people the council had tried to erase. The envoy's leader, a pale, metallic-skinned being, demanded, "Human, this world is restricted. Leave immediately." Evan shook his head. Restricted, no, hidden, forgotten, but never gone. You erased history, but you cannot erase truth. This world lives, its people live, and the galaxy will know. The envoy's eyes narrowed. You dare defy the council? Evan did not flinch. I survive because I adapt. I survive because I act. You send humans to die in deserts, but you forget. We endure, we learn, we teach, and we reveal what others hide. The alien women stepped forward behind him, their presence commanding and dignified. For centuries, they had lived in shadows. Now they stood openly, proud and alive. The envoy tried to respond with threats, but Evan activated the ancient system. Lights flared across the desert. Hidden gardens shimmered in the sun. Energy shields formed above the tunnels. Sensors projected images of life, history, and civilizations once erased. The envoy's instruments failed to understand. "See for yourself," Evan said. "This is not conquest. This is survival. This is truth. You tried to hide us, but the galaxy will know." The envoy's ship sent messages back to the Council, but every reading was false. The desert itself protected the world. The Council had never encountered such resilience. They realized too late that a single human had awakened a planet's secrets, and with it the truth could not be silenced. Evan and Seelan addressed their people. "You have endured centuries in silence," Evan said. "Now the galaxy knows you exist, but we must act wisely. We do not seek revenge. We protect, we endure, and we show the way forward. Together we are stronger than any lie or threat." The alien women nodded. They had once hidden to survive. Now they stood openly, proud and confident, united with a human who had earned their trust and respect. Evan moved among them. He had become more than a survivor. He had become a leader, not by command, but by action, intelligence, and courage. "This world," he said, "was meant to die in the shadows, but it lives, and we will make sure the galaxy remembers that life cannot be erased." Weeks passed. Scholars and explorers, guided by Evan's messages, visited Karos 9. They saw the underground gardens, the flowing water, and the thriving people. They witnessed human ingenuity combined with alien resilience. The Council could no longer control the narrative. Their lies were exposed. Hidden civilizations received attention, protection, and recognition. Humanity's reputation grew, not through war, but through courage, endurance, and intellect. Evan watched the first visitors meet the alien women. For the first time, centuries of hiding ended. The desert world was no longer forgotten. Seelan approached Evan. "You have changed the fate of this planet," she said softly. "You have changed the fate of your people and ours." Evan smiled. "I only did what humans do. We survive, we endure. And sometimes we help others survive too." Her eyes glimmered with respect. "Then you are not just a human, you are a legend," Evan chuckled. "I am still an exile technically, but perhaps this exile became something greater." The desert of Karos 9 stretched endlessly, golden and alive. The tunnels beneath hummed with energy. The alien women moved gracefully, teaching, maintaining, and thriving. And Evan. He stood among them, proud but humble, a human who had endured, adapted, and changed the fate of a hidden world. The Galactic Council had exiled a single human, believing he would vanish. They had underestimated him. They had underestimated humanity. One human, standing with those they tried to erase, had revealed the truth. And the galaxy learned an important lesson. Humans endure, humans adapt, humans survive. And sometimes humans awaken the worlds that others thought forgotten. The desert no longer punished, it protected. The hidden people no longer hid. They thrived. And Evan had become a bridge between worlds, a guardian, and a legend of endurance and courage. The story of Karos 9 spread across the galaxy. Whispers of the exile human, the hidden civilizations, and the truth they revealed inspired humans and aliens alike. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the undeniable power of standing for what is right. The Council could not stop it. They could not erase it. And Evan knew one thing for certain. The galaxy would never forget a human who endured the desert and discovered the truth that no one could hide.